Hello, thank you very much indeed for joining me here today on this webinar. It's being recorded as part of the Homebuilding and Renovating show. So the good thing is you'll better skip through any of the bits that you find boring. All of the photography is ours. So I'm really hopeful that in the next 15 minutes you'll find something which is of interest to you. But before I get into the presentation too far, could I just suggest you also look at our virtual stand. Stand itself is based upon this particular template, and it's a little bit like an advent calendar. Behind each of the 6 panels, you'll find additional information: brochure options, close-up videos, actual showroom tours, even a window designer tool called mypricemaster.co.uk, so you can design your own ideal windows. You can understand the choices that you have, and you can see the effect different Georgian layouts will have on your property. Please feel free to download anything you wish. It's all free, and of course, we will respect your privacy. Okay, now for the formal introduction. My name is Alan Burgess. I own Master Frame Windows with my wife, Linda. I've spent my entire working life in windows. First as an apprentice with Crittall, the metal window company, which was an excellent grounding for all things fenestration. Then 6 years with Ray Howe, during which time we designed the UK's first dedicated PVC vertical sliding system, launched in Alexandra Palace in 1986, before starting Master Frame Windows and dedicating the last 30 odd years to making sash windows. We actually don't make anything else. We are 100% focused on innovations, modifications and improvements to make the best alternative to sash windows. Whatever the size of your project, be it a substantial new build, a very nice Georgian mansion, or if you're simply refurbishing your first home, an appreciation of what makes good fenestration will certainly help you. So what makes good fenestration? I often hear people say, well, a window's a window, isn't it? Or it's just there to hold the glass in place. Well, whilst that may well be very true, I'd just stop and ask how many of you have noticed how poorly designed windows stand out like a sore thumb? Rather like a few of these following examples. Obviously, windows must cover the basics. They must provide the necessary level of security, adequate ventilation. They must also keep out the rain and keep the warmth in. But they must do all this and retain the character, charm, and elegance of the property itself. Here's a hideous example of a tilt and turn window trying to look like a triple light sash window. Glazing bars inside the sealed units, V-notch welded lines, shiny white plastic, trickle vents. There's been no consideration for the building's appearance, just what's the cheapest fenestration. Another unsympathetic replacement. Any character has been lost. In total contrast to these, good fenestration should merge into their surroundings by adding character to the buildings. In essence, good windows should go unnoticed. Let me speak about ventilation briefly. We all know that new build boxes don't work very well. Rooms get stuffy, poor air quality, which results in mold growth and spores. Good ventilation also means providing ventilation, adequate ventilation, a minimum of 4 air changes per hour. Sash windows provide excellent purge ventilation, far greater than any casement style. And with brush seals, it's now possible to ensure the breathability of any property of any age, regardless of the prevailing weather or seasons. Now, we each know that every home is different. Each one will have its own character, and therefore each will need its own solution. Take these bays, for example. A single vertical bar has been used to create a very nice, well-balanced effect. They're nicely fitted behind the outer brickwork and have matching side returns. On this Georgian mansion, we have something slightly different. And if you take a closer look at these windows, you'll see that the upper floor windows, because they're often smaller, have been made with 1/3, 2/3 split openers, whereas the taller windows downstairs are equal opens, 50-50 splits. The ground floor windows also looked better by having the deep bottom rail fitted, whilst the ones upstairs just had a narrower sash in order to keep the patterns symmetrical. On this particular project, the owners have gone for 2/5, 3/5 downstairs. Yet again, upstairs, they've gone for a 1/3, 2/3. And you can see just how well all the Georgian bars align upstairs, downstairs, and on each window. Now, nobody wants to see neighbourhoods blighted with inappropriate windows. And whilst planners and conservation officers are often criticised for disallowing projects, they are seen as guardians of taste. They have a duty to ensure that they are aware of current products so that they can properly assess the visual impact an application will have on a heritage asset. This is very important because quite often that's very minimal or nothing at all. We're very happy for them to set good principles, but we really don't want them to base them based upon the mistakes of the past. Construction is very important. Take the side returns on the bay windows on the left-hand side. I think they would look much better if they had sashes and sash returns rather than fixed light returns like the ones you see on the right. When you're considering things, do consider the effects that Georgian bars have on the various layouts, what effect colour will bring, whether it should be foiled, and the jointing methods and the frame construction. Our company, like many, have come a very, very long way in the last 32 years, constantly redeveloping sash windows, trying to reproduce the finest details to ensure that they no longer look any different from timber products. Replacements are now considered like for like. Unsightly internal Georgian bars, inappropriate designs, and chunky sections should now be a thing of the past. And whilst the cheapest solution is to make a sash using the same size section on each side, on all four sides, today each sash is made from 3 or 4 different profiles, different thicknesses. Whilst each has the same chamfered putty line detail, they're different sizes because they do different jobs. Take the lower sashes. These tend to have a traditional deep bottom rail, about 105 millimeters, whilst the upper sash has a much, much slender mid-rail of just 39 millimeters. We employ special software to calculate the glass size to ensure that both panes, the upper and lower pane of glass, remain equal in their height. Jambs on the upper and lower sashes are of different dimensions too, because the frame itself has a 10 millimeter rebate on each side. To ensure the glass sizes are equal in the widths, we use a slim sash on the upper pane and a large sash on the lower pane. The software again ensures the glass is equal so that Georgian bars align correctly. Early methods of PVC, of welding PVC, resulted in rather nasty diagonal welds. Today, thanks to the product development, each sash and frame can have our unique patented timber weld method. Being welded, it gives added strength without any sprue. These wood-grained windows now look and feel just like timber sash windows, even at close quarters. A direct quote taken from the Inspectorate of the Office of the Deputy Prime Minister a few years ago. Once upon a time, multi-light windows could only be made by coupling two frames together. This resulted in very wide-looking products, which significantly reduced daylight. Today, our products have slim, integral GRP mullions, which are 50 millimeters narrower than the coupled options. Even better still, each pane can slide and tilt inwards for cleaning. And again, the location of these mullions within the window frame will determine the widths of the Georgian bar layouts. So it's critical to get them in the right location. So just a quick recap. Today we make windows with 4 different thicknesses of sashes. Each is welded for extra strength. Each has a putty line chamfer detail, and each can be welded with timber weld butt joints to recreate the traditional, authentic looking window. We feel that every window should look right, well balanced, whichever view you look it from. But if you're still not convinced, let's have a look at some nice properties that may not have got it completely 100%. If you look closely at the feature window on this property, you'll see that it's of casement windows. Now the clients probably saved some money in not having an arched sash window, but I really think they would have looked stunning in this location. To me, the casements look completely out of character and spoil what would have been a really nice effect. A little bit less grand, but here we have a 1970s double glazed house. Here it is afterwards. New stone sills, slender mullions, slim sash, deep bottom rails. I think you'll admit there's been quite a difference between those two different effects. Now this home on the south coast wanted colour, and they wanted to picture frame their garden from within their house. They also wanted something which is called a London sash. Today, there's an array of colour. Because we have our own paint plant, you can choose any colour you wish. And we even offer a colour matching service. So if it's anthracite grey or charcoal green, or if you just want black and white, black frames and white sashes, the options are endless. Now I mentioned London sash a few seconds ago, and you can have any shape really that you wish. Very few are not possible. However, our London sash is somewhat unique and takes some beating. It's a true arched head externally with a curved staff bead, and yet internally it is a square-edged sash and a square-edged frame. Here's one in situ in London. So if you are building your dream house or redesigning the one you live in, please remember it's the little details that matter. Attention to detail creates really good design. Architraves, blinds, shutters all add the finishing touches. Inside and outside. And it really does suit your home and your view. Perhaps they might have wanted some obscure glass in these windows, or what we suggest to some people is they put obscure glass just in the lower part, so they still get masses of daylight flooding into the rooms. But it's their choice. All our products are tested, inspected, and approved. So that's us, a family-owned business with just over 50 employees, dedicated and truly specialized in making just one product, the very best quality sliding sashes that we can. Formed in 1988, we pride ourselves on doing things right, delivering our promises, and honoring our commitments. Our job is simple. It's to inform you about what is possible, provide you with the very best advice so that you can determine what's the right specification for your project, your needs, and your budget. Thank you very much indeed for listening to this. I really hope it's been helpful to you. And if you want to go back onto our stand and click around, I'm sure you'll find some nice information to make the most of this experience. Thank you once again for your attention.